Good morning, children. Today we will be discussing the plant kingdom from class 11. Right. No, the first of all, we have to discuss something about the classification of plants, classification of organisms, particularly plants, are changing every now and then because of the formation of the new species and the development in tools and technology. We have introduced lot of new methodology in biology. As a result, we learn and bring about more and more the complicated chemical composition, cytological features, and many more characteristic features, unique features of organisms day by day. So we have to renew the classification every now and then. Now first we have to study three systems of classification. In three systems of classification, we will be discussing artificial system of classification. Second one, natural systems of classification. And third one is phylogenetic system of classification. Phylogenetic system of classification. In artificial system of classification, all the vegetative as well as the reproductive characters of plants are considered. Vegetative and reproductive characters. For example, the height of the plant, the size of the leaf, and also the structure of embryoship. Because of these, external features, we consider more external features of plants that may not be permanent. So, this system of classification is not a natural system because it is considering only the vegetative characters or external characteristic features of organism. This system was introduced by Carl Linnaeus. Then the second system of classification is natural system of classification, which was introduced by Bentham and Hooker. Bentham and Hooker, two scientists. In this classification, all the internal as well as external characters are considered about classification. For example, internal characteristics such as the cytological features, anatomical features, and also genetical features are considered for classification. So, Bentham and Hooker's classification is having more affinity, natural affinity, because it is based on more of internal characteristics. So, it is more acceptable system of classification, natural systems of classification. Then the third one is phylogenetic system of classification. Phylogeny meaning the evolutionary relationship. Phylogeny, the meaning of phylogeny is evolutionary relationship of organisms. For example, this system was introduced by Hutchinson, Hutchinson. Hutchinson. He introduced this classification by considering the evolutionary relationship between organisms. So this is the another accepted system of classification. So in three systems of classification, artificial, natural and phylogenetic, natural and phylogenetic systems are more acceptable. The recent natural system of classification, all the internal as well as external characteristics are considered. Whereas in phylogeny or phylogenetic system of classification, the evolutionary relationship of organisms are considered. So these two systems are very important, and this is all about the three systems of classification. Now another system of classification is the five-kingdom classification. Everybody knows it. Five-kingdom classification. Five-kingdom classification we have already discussed about it. The five kingdoms was, that the first kingdom Monera, second kingdom Protista, third kingdom Fungi, fourth kingdom Plantae, and kingdom Animalia, that we have already discussed in the previous chapter. So the second system that is called the five-finger classification is a very important system of classification. Now, from this classification point of view, scientists have adopted various techniques for classification. For example, they use various latest branches. For example, numerical taxonomy. Numerical taxonomy. Second, chemotaxonomy. Then third, cytological taxonomy. So, for the better classification, scientists adopted or used up certain latest technical branches in biology. That is, first one, numerical taxonomy. In numerical taxonomy, computer software, computer data are used for the classification of organisms. Computerized systems, data, and many other basic features of computers are being used. For example, in a particular phylum of animal, how many organisms are included? In each category of organism, how many organisms are included? So, computer data is used for classification of organisms. That is called the numerical taxonomy. So, taxonomy, you know all. Taxonomy is the branch of biology deals with the classification, nomenclature of organisms. So, in this taxonomical classification, computerized data and softwares are used for classification. Chemotaxonomy, chemical constituents are used for classification. For example, chromosome. What are the chemical components of chromosomes? What are the major chemical components of protoplasm? Is this protoplasm of different organism chemically different from each other? So all these are included in the chemotaxonomy. So chemical constitution is used for classification. Now the third one is cytological characteristic features. That means all cytological features, cellular features, like presence of organelles, the structure of nucleus. Then again, more details of cytological features are used for classification. So these are the three latest branches in biology which are used for the classification of organisms. Once again, numerical taxonomy, chemotaxonomy, and cytological taxonomy are being used by scientists for classification. Now, we have already discussed about different plant groups. For example, we have discussed yesterday the fungi in detail. Today, we are going to discuss some other plant groups which are included in this plant kingdom. Let's now overview all these algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms. This we are going to discuss in detail. First of all, let's begin algae. What are algae? Algae, the term is plural. Alga, A-L-G-A, singular. So what is alga or what are algae? Algae are photosynthetic plants with a thyroid plant body. Algae are photosynthetic thyroid plant body with different types of chloroplast in it. So algae are aquatic thyroid autotrophic organisms. Thyroid. Aquatic, always they are found in water or where there is water present. Even it can be on rocks, it can be on the barks of the trees, it can be of any part of the earth where the water presence is there. So, thalloid, then autotrophic, chlorophyll bearing organisms. Autotrophic, chlorophyll bearing organisms. The word thalloid indicates plant body without true root, stem and leaves. No true roots. True roots are absent. True roots, stems and leaves. Such a plant body is called thalloid plant body or thallus. The word thallus indicates the plant body without true root, stem and leaves. So you have already seen fungi are thalloid plant body. Bryophytes, which we are going to study, also thalloid plant body. Then algae are with the thalloid plant body. So thallus or thalloid plant body are plants without a true root, stem and leaves. Now algae, the importance of algae comes when we consider the photosynthesis. They are the most photosynthetic organisms in the earth. 70% of the 70% of all the oxygen fixation, or we can also say 70% of photosynthesis is performed by the algae. Only 30% the remaining are performed by all other angiosperms and gymnosperms surrounding us. So algae constitute 70% of photosynthetic organisms, which are mainly found in river, lakes and ocean, which are unreachable and unavailable to us because they are under the water. Right. So 70% of photosynthesis is performed by this part. Now algae are very useful in our day-to-day purpose. For example, there are many algae which are edible algae. Edible. For example, alva, ULVA, alva is edible. Porphyra is an edible algae. Sargassum, Laminaria, all these are edible algae. But this edibility is being properly and widely utilized by some other countries, not our country. Countries like Japan and the island nations, they main seafood constitute the algal food. Now, after this second point, we are coming to the algae produce various complex polysaccharides like algin, 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 carrageen, CARGEN, carrageen. Then agar, algin, carrageen, agar. All these are complex polysaccharides that we extract from algae, which are used for various purposes, for making medicines, for making ice creams, for making syrups, for making various pharmaceutical products, and also being used as food supplements, all these substances. Now, another important feature of algae, they are one of the most important oxygen releases. So oxygen, the most important feature, they are the very important for the respiration, oxygen. They are most important oxygen evolving, oxygen generating organisms. So let us now see first one, the importance of algae. They are the most important photosynthetic group of organisms. Most of them are edible. Example, alga, porphyra, sargassum, laminaria, algin, carrageen, agar are various products that we extract from algae, which are useful for our various requirements. Now we are coming to the reproduction in algae. Algae reproduce by three ways. First one, vegetatively. Algae reproduce vegetatively. Second, asexually. And the third one is sexually. Vegetative reproduction mainly by fragmentation. Fragmentation, you know it. Whereas asexual reproduction by various types of spores, such as zoospores. Zoospores are motile spores. Then sexual reproduction by gametes. Zoospores are motile spores. So, during asexual reproduction, the plant body, particularly Chlamydomonas, Spirogyra, and many other type of algae, reproduce asexually by forming zoospores. The entire content of the protoplasm divide by mitosis and form small flagellated cells called zoospore. They are motile. That's why zoo. Zoo means motile, movable. So motile spores, that are zoospores. Now third one, sexual reproduction by gametes. In algae, sexual reproduction is very much developed. There are three types of gametes you can find in algae. They are isogametes. Isogametes. Second, anisogametes. And third one is oogametes. Isogametes, anisogametes, and oogametes. What do you mean by isogametes? Isogametes are gametes which are structurally similar gametes. The fusing gametes are structurally similar. For example, in Chlamydomonas, you can see isogametes. The gametes appears single-celled, and these are the two gametes, male gametes and female gametes. These two gametes are structurally similar in size and shape and function, because both have the flagella. They are motile. Functionally same. Structurally both are same. So such a structurally similar, functionally similar gametes are called isogametes. This is very common in Chlamydomonas and Spirogyra. Now the second type of gametes are anisogametes. So in anisogametes, the male and female gametes, one of the gamete is bigger in size and the other one is the smaller. Usually the male is smaller and female one is bigger. So these are structurally almost same, but you can see functionally also same, because both can move each other. But what is the difference? The size. The size is different. Such gametes where the fusing gametes are different in size but similar in function are called anisogametes. These are commonly found in many algae like Eudogonium, okay, that you will study later. Now oogametes are the most advanced and developed gametes. One of the gametes is non-motile. They are spherical. We call it the egg or ovum. And the second one, male gamete, is smaller and motile. This is sperm or male gamete. Sperm or male gamete. So oogametes are most advanced one, but these three types of gametes we can find in algae. The fusion of the isogametes are called isogamy. Fusion of anisogametes, anisogamy. Fusion of oogametes, oogamy. So which one is most advanced? Oogamy or oogametes. Yes. Now we are coming to The another feature of algae, some different features we are discussing now, that is chloroplast. It is very interesting to see that the size and shape of the chloroplast in algae shows great variation in size and form. There are many types of chloroplast, as you have studied in lower classes. Ribbon shaped or spiral chloroplast. Ribbon shaped chloroplast. You can see in the Spirogyra. Then cup shaped chloroplast. You can see in Chlamydomonas. Then we can also see girdle shaped. We can see the Ulothrix. So like that. There are different types, different shapes of chloroplast. Ribbon shaped chloroplast, cup shaped chloroplast, girdle shaped chloroplast, even star shaped chloroplast. There are many forms of chloroplast we can see. But in all these chloroplasts, suppose if I am drawing the ribbon shaped chloroplast in Spirogyra. This is the ribbon shaped chloroplast. We can draw like this, ribbon shaped chloroplast or spiral chloroplast. In this chloroplast, there are special structures called pyrenoids. Pyrenoid. Pyrenoid. What are pyrenoids? Pyrenoids are structures in which starch is stored during photosynthesis. The starch produced, plants produced starch, or starch is the storage or reserve food in plants. Everybody knows it. But photosynthetically plants produce glucose. Glucose soon convert to the starch. Starch gets stored in plant body. So starch is called storage food in normally in all photosynthetic plants. That is being stored in pyrenoid. So if you draw a pyrenoid, you can see that it is a spherical structure. Starch is there, and inside the starch you can see the protein. So protein and starch stored in pyrenoid. That is present in chloroplast. Pyrenoid may not be seen outside the chloroplast. They are usually embedded in chloroplast. So pyrenoids are starch storing structures. They contain starch as well as proteins. This is another feature of algae. Now we are coming to the classification of algae. Algae are classified into three groups. They are green algae. Green algae is called chlorophyceae. Green algae is called Phyceae, chlorophyceae. Then second, brown algae. Brown algae, Phaeophyceae. Phyceae, Phaeophyceae. Then third one, red algae, Rhodophyceae. Rhodophyceae. So there are three types of algae, or three classes of algae. Green algae. Let me tell you the difference between these three main differences. Main differences we can find in 3-4 areas. First of all, green algae contain chlorophyll. Chlorophyll A and B. A and B are the very common types of chlorophyll, green pigments in green algae. Green algae, the storage food is simply called starch. Reserve food or storage food is starch. Cell wall of this green algae is mainly composed of cellulose. cellulose. There are flagella. They are flagellated. There are lot of flagellated algae. Example, we can say Chlamydomonas is a flagellated algae. Flagellated green algae. Chlamydomonas. Then again, you can say Spirogyra. It is not a flagellated. Spirogyra. Chlamydomonas is unicellular green algae. Unicellular. Whereas Spirogyra is filamentous green algae. Filamentous green algae. So there are different forms of green algae. Again, another one, colonial green algae, that we can say volvox, VOL, such different habits or different habitat formation we can see in algae, green algae. So green algae may be unicellular like Chlamydomonas, ribbon-shaped or filamentous like Spirogyra, then colonial green algae, volvox. These are the major features of green algae. Green algae, okay? So once again, green algae, the chlorophyll is A and B. The cell wall is composed of cellulose mainly. Starch is the reserve food. You can see the flagellated algae. They are flagellated, 1 or 2 or even up to 8 flagella you can see. They may be unicellular, filamentous or colonial forms. These are the major features of green algae. Now the second, brown algae. Brown algae, the pigments, first pigment chlorophyll is A and C. Brown algae, Phaeophaceae, the chlorophyll pigment is A and C. Right? Then, in addition to the green chlorophyll pigment, there is a brown pigment present in brown algae, Phaeophaceae. What is that? They are fucoxanthin, Fucoxanthin. Fucoxanthin is the brown pigment which makes the brown algae brownish in appearance. So, fucoxanthin. Now, the reserve food is not starch. It is in two names, laminarin and mannitol. Laminarin and mannitol. MANITOL. Laminarin and mannitol are reserve food. Right? There may be, in addition to cellulose, the cell wall contains a substance called pectin or algin. You can say algin. ALGIN. In addition to cellulose in the cell wall, there is another substance called algin. Then in this case, or brown algae, you can see flagellated forms. Flagellated forms are there. The flagella may be 1 to 8. These are the common features. Example for this brown algae or Phaeophaceae, we can write many. They are laminaria, sargassum, etc. You can see the examples: laminaria, sargassum. Then many other forms are there. At least 2 you must study. So, what are the features of brown algae or Phaeophaceae? Chlorophyll is A and C. Then next, the brown pigment is called fucoxanthin. The reserve food is laminarin mannitol. Cellulose and algin are present in the cell wall. There are flagellated forms. Means flagella may be 1 to 8. These are the common features of brown algae. Right? Now red algae. Red algae is also called rhodophyceae. Red algae, the first pigment chlorophyll, A and D. A and D are the chlorophyll pigments. Then there is a red pigment present in this red algae. That is called phycoerythrin. PHYCO ERYTHRIN. Phycoerythrin is the red pigment. Then this algae, the most important biological product they produce, agar. Complex carbohydrate agar is extracted from some red algae such as Gelidium, 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 then Gracilaria, etc. So agar is extracted from the red algae, Gelidium and Gracilaria. These are economically very important. And even 500 gram of agar cost 2000 rupees. That much costlier it is, which is being used in the costlier ice cream preparations, some types of medicine, syrups, etc. So the next important feature, there is very less unicellular form. They are particularly marine algae. In the first two, green and brown algae, there may be marine as well as freshwater algae. But in the third group, red algae, predominantly they are marine forms. And also most of them are multicellular So what are the common features of red algae or rhodophyceae? There are different types of chlorophyll pigments, chlorophyll A and D. The red pigment is called phycoerythrin. Agar is obtained from red algae such as Gracilaria, Gelidium. Then most of them are marine or predominantly marine forms, and most of them are multicellular. This red algae is mainly found at the bottom level of these aquatic bodies, bottom, where the light does not reach much. So these are the general features, important features of green algae, brown algae and red algae. Now we are coming to the next group of organisms, bryophytes. Bryophytes. Everybody knows bryophytes are called amphibians of the plant kingdom. Bryophytes are called amphibians. Why are they called amphibians of the plant kingdom? Because they are found in areas where water meets the land. For example, they can found both in the water as well as on the land. Why water is required? For sexual reproduction, bryophytes require water. So because of this dual habitat, the amphibians, bryophytes are called amphibians of the plant kingdom. Now, where are these bryophytes seen? Bryophytes are seen in damp, moist and shady places. Damp, moist and shady places, and deep in woods. In very inside the forest, which is very deep and cool. where bryophytes grow more. So very deep in woods, you can see more and more bryophytes. Scientists who study bryophytes goes interior to the forest. So they will identify different forms of bryophytes. So bryophytes are mainly found in wet soil, wet rocks, aquatic places, marine habitat as well as freshwater habitats. Then they are also seen wherever there is shade, calm and moisture, and also very deep in woods. These amphibians of the plant kingdom are very well known with the thalloid plant body. Their plant body is called thalloid, just like an algae. Thalloid means without a true root, stem and leaves. Now, the other important feature of bryophytes, you can see, they are non-vascular cryptogams. They are called non-vascular cryptogams. Non-vascular cryptogams. What is the meaning of non-vascular cryptogams for plants? Cryptogams, the bryophytes belong to cryptogame. Cryptogame. So you may ask me what are the other plants included in cryptogame. Cryptogame includes thallophyte, bryophyte and pteridophytes. Cryptogame includes thallophytes. Thallophytes. Mainly algae and fungi. Algae and fungi belong to thallophytes. Then bryophytes and pteridophytes. All these three plant groups are included in cryptogame. The word meaning cryptos means hidden. Game means sex organs. Sex organs are hidden, not visible. Such groups are called cryptogame. Crypto means hidden. Game means sex organs. So sex organs are hidden in thallophyte, bryophyte and pteridophyte. Thallophyte we have already studied. Algae and fungi. Bryophytes are also with the thalloid plant body, but bryophytes are given a separate position in cryptogame. Pteridophytes. Let's now continue with these bryophytes. I told you bryophytes are non-vascular cryptogams or plants. It means that they do not have a xylem and phloem. Xylem and phloem are absent. Not only in these bryophytes, algae, fungi and bryophytes. All the cryptogams, no vascular tissues. Cryptogame or cryptogams are devoid of vascular tissues, xylem and phloem. They have some other mechanism for the conduction of water and food inside the plants. They have simple channels, cellular channels. From cell to cell directly, the water and minerals and food is diffused from one cell to another cell. They do not have vascular tissues. Now, as I told you earlier, bryophytes are called amphibians because during sexual reproduction, the male gametes called sperms need water to move, to reach the female sex organ. For sexual reproduction, for the movement of sperms, they need water. So, they are found near the water bodies or wet areas, so that the sperm can move and reach the female gamete for fertilization. For sexual reproduction, water is required by these bryophytes. That's why bryophytes mostly abundantly found in and around the water bodies. Now, the next feature of bryophytes. Bryophytes can be divided into reproduction. Let us come to reproduction about bryophytes. Reproduction can be two ways. They are asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction takes place by various types of spores. That includes vegetative fragmentation. Vegetatively, they break up the plant body into fragments. Vegetative reproduction is type of fragmentation. Sexual reproduction. Vegetative reproduction is a type of asexual reproduction. Vegetative reproduction by fragmentation. Then bryophytes also reproduce asexually by different types of spores. But mainly they reproduce sexually because they are at the such edge of boundary of advanced planitude. Pteridophytes onwards we can say they are advanced. Also bryophytes are linking the primitive to the advanced planitude. So we can say sexual reproduction is very common. The plant body of bryophyte is gametophyte. Gametophyte means the plant which you see on the soil, wet soil, is gametophyte. Gamete means sex cells. Phyte means plant body. So gamete producing plant body is called a gametophyte. Gamete producing plant body is called a gametophyte. Usually these gametophytes are very independent plant body in bryophyte. Independent. Okay. Now this gametophyte produces male and female sex organs. Gametophyte produce the male sex organ antheridia. Antheridia. Then female archegonia. Antheridia produces sperms, male gamete. They are also called antherozoids. Antherozoids. Then archegonia produces egg or ovum. Egg or ovum. So the antheridia, male sex organ, this is the symbol of male and this is the symbol of female. Okay? One circle and one arrow mark that indicate male sex organ, and one circle plus below one plus mark that indicate the archegonia female sex organ. So gametophyte produces male and female sex organ. Male sex organ antheridia produces sperm or antherozoids, and female sex organ produces archegonia produces egg or ovum. Hence, this gametophyte is the plant body, that is the major plant body, and the gametophyte produce sporophyte later. Sporophyte. Gametophyte produce sporophyte. How they produce sporophyte? First of all, the sperms swim through the water and reach the archegonia or near the egg. Fusion of sperm with the egg is called fertilization. Fertilization results in the formation of zygote. Fertilization results in zygote formation. Okay? Now zygote is formed. Now this zygote undergo meiosis. Meiosis is called a reduction division. So if there is 10 chromosomes, after meiosis, we can see 4 small cells are formed. After meiosis, from one main cell or mother cell, 4 small cells with 5 chromosomes each. These 5 chromosomes are called haploid, which will be represented by N. Haploid chromosomes. It was studied in 10th class. So 10 is called diploid, 2N. After meiosis, the 2N become N. That is, diploid chromosome number become haploid in the progeny cells. So after meiosis, how many cells are formed? 4 cells with haploid chromosome number. These are called spores. Or that now germinate to form gametophyte. The spores now germinate to form gametophyte. No, the spores now germinate to form sporophyte. But in many bryophytes, directly the zygote undergo meiosis and directly form the sporophyte. Directly form the sporophyte. Such a plant with the gametophytic phase is the major plant body, and the sporophyte is only represented by the zygote. A plant body with gametophyte as the major plant body, and the sporophyte is not so predominant in the life cycle is called haplontic life cycle. What is haplontic life cycle? Haplontic, H-A-P-L-O-N-T-I-C. Okay, that you will be studying at a later stage. So now you can see sexual reproduction. The gametophyte is the plant body. They produce Antheridia, Archegonia. Antheridia are a male sex organ, produces sperms. Archegonia, female sex organ, produces egg. Both the sperm and egg fuse to form zygote. Zygote develops into sporophyte. So in this way, two generations, gametophyte and sporophytic generation comes alternate to each other. Gametophytic stage alternate with the sporophytic stage. Such a life cycle is called alternation of generation. So what is alternation of generation? In the life cycle of plants, two generations. What are the gametophytic and sporophytic generation come alternate to each other. Such a life cycle is called alternation of generation. Right? Now the classification of bryophytes. Bryophytes are classified into two based on the complexities of the plant body. Bryophytes can be of two types. Liverworts, L-A-V-E-R, liverworts and mosses, M-O-S-S-E-S. Liverworts are primitive bryophytes, primitive types, with the primitive plant body. Example, Markantia, Riccia, then Riccia, R-I-C-C-I-A, Riccia. What is the unique feature of this plant body? They are very small, dorsi-ventrally flattened. What is the meaning of dorsi-ventrally? Upper, dorsal means upper side and ventral means lower side. Both the upper and lower surface are flattened and pressed to form very thin membrane. Such a plant body of Markantia you can see, they are highly pressed on the surface of the plant body. They appear like that. There may be some small projections of leaves, like structure, not the true leaves. So this type of plant body, if I draw detail, you can see they are very, very flattened and dorsi-ventrally flattened, and they are seen pressed on the substratum. Substratum means the rock or soil on which they live. So the bryophyte liverworts are dorsi-ventrally flattened and pressed on the substratum on which they live. Their plant bodies are very simple, and this plant body is called a gametophytic plant body. I told you, gametophyte. Both the liverworts and mosses, the plant bodies are gametophyte. And this gametophytic stage is very much identified with their greenish appearance, leafy projections, and also creeping nature. They are creeping over the substratum or the soil where there is wetness, creeping, flattened, and with a very minute scale-like leaves. You can observe it when there is rain. We can identify the small plant-like appearance on soil, wet soil. So you can see Markantia and Rixia. Gametophyte produces, as I told you, Archegonium and Anthridium. Archegonium and Anthridium now produces male and female gamete. They fuse to form zygote. Zygote grows directly into sporophyte. Zygote grows into sporophyte. So, sporophyte is dependent on gametophyte. Means the sporophyte live on gametophyte. So, sporophyte is not independent. It is dependent on the gametophyte. But gametophyte is independent. Gametophyte is free living and independent, on which the sporophyte is dependent. Right? So, gametophyte is a major life plant body here. Sporophyte dependent on the gametophyte. So, sporophyte is insignificant in this case. Such a plant body is called what? Haploid plant body. I mean, haploidic life cycle. Okay? So, we can say the sporophyte, if I draw the sporophyte in figures, you can see three parts: foot, seta and capsule. Foot, seta and capsule. So capsule is the region where spores are formed inside by meiosis. Spores are formed inside the capsule by meiosis. Now these spores come out and germinate and form very thread-like protonema. Thread-like protonema. Protonema. Protonema is the first part of the first stage of the gametophyte. Now the protonema develops into this type of gametophyte with a lot of leaves and creeping nature. So we can understand that bryophytes, the plant body, main plant body is gametophyte, and they produces sporophyte, on which the sporophyte have three parts: foot, seta and capsule. The capsule produces spores by meiosis. Spores germinate to form again gametophyte. So this is the life cycle of bryophyte. So plant body is gametophyte. Gametophyte produces male and female sex organ. They fuse to form zygote. Zygote grows into sporophyte with the foot, seta and capsule. In the capsule of sporophyte, what you can see? We can see the spores. The spores come out and again germinate to form gametophyte. So, gametophyte, sporophyte. Gametophyte, sporophyte. This is what is called alternation of gametophytic and sporophytic generation. Alternation of gametophytic and sporophytic generation. Gametophytic generation is haploid, whereas sporophytic generation is diploid. So alternational generation can also say that alternation of haploid and diploid generations. Gametophyte is haploid and sporophyte is diploid. So such a life cycle where haploid gametophyte is the major plant body, we can say we start with the haploid gametophyte. Then second only we use sporophyte or diploid stage. Such a life cycle is called haploid and diploid alternational generation or gametophytic and sporophytic generation. That's all about the bryophytes. Sir?